Just here with the last bits of my refreshing, lovely drink. Gin. Hello everyone, it's Daniel here with Lumalux Productions. Today I wanted to go through with you guys a gear set that I bring to a typical wedding. And when I say typical, I mean one that I don't have to get on a plane to go to, one that is local, one that I can just pack up my car and drive to. This one in particular that I'm going to be going through with you is a wedding that's about 2.5 hours away from me. So it's a little bit of a drive, but I'm going to be staying near the venue so I don't have to get up super early and start my day super early. But yeah, so I'm going to be throwing you guys over to the dreaded iPhone footage because I just recorded it really quickly on my iPhone to go through just generally speaking what I typically bring. I feel like most people don't really realize how much goes into the behind the scenes part of videography, and that it's really wedding videography specifically. That it's really so much more than just showing up and pointing a camera and pushing record. At least for me, I'm really striving to really create a story of every single couple as an individual couple and as individual people, and really just capture their story and weave together a story for them that is more than just their wedding day. Their wedding day just happens to be the scene in which we're filming. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw you guys over to that footage of me talking over there through my gear set, and I'll see you guys in just a couple minutes. We're just gonna assume it's working, even though everything looks like trash. So I'm just sitting here in front of all of my equipment. So I'm gonna start with one of the most important pieces of equipment, and obvious, the cameras. So inside of this box, there are 4 cameras. We've got my A camera, my FX3. I've got a Sony A7siii with a 70-200 lens on it. I've got an A7R3, and this has got the 1-400 Sony G Master lens, and then my last but not least, another A7R3, and this one's got the Sigma 70, so 24-70, excuse me, on that. So the cameras, they are important, obviously. In addition to that, so this box down here in front of me, you can't really see it, but this box, it has all of my audio stuff in it, and I'm gonna show all of those pieces and parts that go into that. The main ones at least. I've got the Zoom F3. This is what I record from DJ audio sources for both ceremony and the reception for toasts. I've got, and I just accidentally turned it on, I've got a Tascam DR-10L White for the bride, and I also have a white microphone cable that I use for that. And then I actually have a Velcro strap that I strap to the bride's thigh, and that holds this pack. And my wife helps me put those on, or I recruit a bridesmaid to get those on. That gives me really clear bride audio. For the groom, I use the Zoom F2. I love this recorder so far. The 32-bit float has been really, really nice. And I have a lot of microphone cables in here. I've probably got 5 or 6 different mic cables for backups, because actually just recently I had one of my white microphone cables for the bride. I had it fail, so I had to use a backup. That's why I have backups of like everything. So, and yes, if you see me looking down here every once in a while, it's to monitor and make sure it's still recording, because I have a monitor down here. I have a backup. So one of my backup recording packs is a Deity BP-TRX. Love this thing. I actually am recording myself with one right now. I've got it attached back here. So I have 2 of those as backups. And then I've also got just a plethora of different connectors. I've got XLR connectors, I've got RCA connectors, I've got adapters from just different sizes to other different sizes, just so I have anything I need just in case the DJ audio setup is complicated or old or whatever it is. I don't want to be left not able to pull from DJ audio board or speakers. So I have a lot of different stuff that I can use to connect to the DJ sound board or speaker. I've got just a bunch of little connectors. I got a bunch of spare batteries. I particularly love the Eneloop Pro. These are AAAs. I've got a few AAAs, and I've got several AA's. Those are what I use in my microphone packs. And honestly, like, I've heard people complain about like the Tascam, or particularly I've heard the F2 Battery life, I've just heard people complain about the battery life, and most of the time, if I am using at least fairly new, I replace my Eneloop Pros about every year, but if I use fairly new ones, those go all day. So I mic them in the morning when they're getting ready, and then they are still recording at 10 o'clock when they are done. So I've had really, really good luck with the Eneloop Pros. So this is my audio box. Again, if I was traveling, I'd just pull the most important pieces from that, and then I would leave the box at home because it's just big and unnecessary for travel like that. I've got my drone. Always a good thing to have. I don't use it every wedding. It just depends on the wedding and the couple and really what makes sense for the day. Headphones, always got to be monitoring. Though with the rise of 32-bit float audio, it's nice to not have to do as much monitoring. Like with the Zoom F3, I can just plug it in and just go, because it's changing the gain levels and such based on the volume levels. So it's been really nice to have that 32-bit float, because I have to do less audio monitoring. Anything to make the job easier is important. So I've got my stabilizer, I've got my Ronin. Love this thing, it's a beast. I also have a little grip on the back, so that way I can hold it from 2 spots and also be able to just kind of dangle it down like a suitcase if I get tired. All right, running through this, we got still a bit more. So this, I've got my Aputure 60X. I absolutely love this light. But actually, for the wedding I'm going to this weekend, I am bringing my Aputure 300D Mark II, and that's gonna be my toast spotlight, because I also got a Fresnel and barn doors. So I am going to try that out this time, just because sometimes the toasts are happening early in the day enough that there's so much daylight, it's very hard to overcome it. The 300D Mark II is just way powerful, especially with the Fresnel. It's going to be magnified, so it'll be, well, I'll let you guys know, but I think it's going to be a lot better for lighting toasters and getting that, not having the blown out background that I sometimes get, depending on whether I'm able to move the speech location or not. I'm also bringing my Aputure C300, and that I'm going to use on the dance floor, just in a corner. I'm going to use that for getting some good backlit contrast on people dancing, just so that it's not dark, muddy, or only colors. And the reason why I wanted to try that one is A, it's brighter, B, it can also, I can try using the music listening function, so that maybe can pulse a little bit with the music versus just being constant, which can add just a little bit more fun to the dance floor. I've always used my Aputure 60X on the dance floor, and it's just, I love it, and I might still use it depending on whether I can get an outlet source or not, because I do have a portable battery that I bring to my weddings, but it's a 500 watt hour battery, and if I'm doing the C300D Mark II for toasts, and the 300D, the 300D Mark II for toasts, and then the C300 for dance floor, I'm not sure whether that's gonna last long enough. So I have another battery, a 1,200 watt hour battery coming for weddings, but it's not here yet. So I'm gonna try that on the dance floor, that new light, the C300, and see how it works. And then sometimes maybe I'll make it color, because I can control it with my phone with the Sidus Link app, which is super nice too. So yeah, we also have this big guy right here. This is all my tripods. So I have, let's see, I've got 3 tripods for cameras, because I have 4 cameras running during the ceremony, as you saw. And so 3 of those goes on tripods. 1 of them is in my hands. And then I also have 2 light tripods, light stands, that I use so I can set up both the toasts light and the dance floor light, and have them set up at the same time, so I don't have to scramble around or move lights from one place to the other. It just makes things a little bit more convenient for me. Let's see, I've got just a bag that has a bunch of spare stuff and other wide angle lenses. I've got like a 12mm, and I've got a 20mm in case I want to go really wide with certain shots. And I've got a Zoom H6, I believe, as a backup audio recorder for DJ audio and other audio sources. Just other backup stuff too. This is on me pretty much all day. This has got all my important things. This has my SD cards. I've got 6 of the CFast Type A cards
that I'm using, I pretty much always fill up between 4 and 6 of the 160 gig CFast A cards throughout the day, because I kind of bounce back and forth between 60 frames a second on my A camera and the S&Q 120 frames a second, because I just love that S&Q, it's amazing. I've got just a bunch of tools in case I have to take things apart, just in case, you know, I just always like to be prepared for any scenario, ready for anything that a wedding day can throw at me. I've also got all my batteries, so I have 8 spare batteries in that bag, which puts my total battery count up to 12, which is more than enough throughout the day. I've never used all of those, because the battery life on the Sonys is actually pretty great. So yeah, I'm trying to think. We've got a few other little things that are just fun. I don't use them at every wedding. I've got a patriotic bubble cannon. Let's see if I can get it to go. Wait for it. Bubbles. Yeah, I've got a patriotic bubble cannon. I will sometimes use this for send-offs. Sometimes I'll use it on the dance floor. Sometimes I'll use it during golden hour. Again, it really depends on the couple and just what the day brings. I also have a fiber optic light whip. This thing's actually pretty sweet. And it's just sometimes people like grabbing these and dancing with it on the dance floor. I do have a little camcorder that I use for some weddings, and I'll give it to the wedding party, someone in the wedding party, just to film throughout the morning or throughout dancing sometimes. And it's just a really cool way to get some footage that I wouldn't be able to get. So we like to bring that just because it's cool to get that little bit of more raw footage, I guess. And that I've incorporated that into a lot of my wedding films, and I just love that. So I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I do. So the blue that you see here, I have 5 technically, Nanlite tube lights. And I think that's a 15C. I think that's what it is. But I bring 2 of those to weddings because sometimes at night we'll do a little bit of a stylized, like dark, but with cool colored lights and stuff like that, shoot somewhere dark in the venue, whether it's inside, hallway, outside, in a forest, whatever it is. I've done it in several different locations, but those are really good for that, so that I can just add some really cool pops of color. And then I also will oftentimes have one of those on during the send-off. So I'll have either my 60X or my C300 behind the couple for the send-off, backlighting them, and then I'll have a tube in front. Sometimes I'll be carrying both my stabilizer and the tube. Sometimes my wife will be holding the tube. Sometimes we'll just get a volunteer or a coordinator or whatever, and they'll move backwards with me, so that way we get some light on the front of the couple. Oh, there's a hair. So that way we'll get some light on the front of the couple as well as the back, just so we get a little bit of detail on their faces and stuff like that. Because I like it to look dramatic, but and backlit, but I don't want to completely lose the front. So yeah, I have other things that I bring sometimes, but they're not essentials. So we're not going to go over them right now, and this video is already long. So,
all right, so that is the typical gear set. It's always changing, it's always evolving depending on just the different models of equipment that are coming out, the different technology that's coming out. And also just every year I'm looking at different gear that can help make my job easier and help make my end product better, and looking to upgrade certain parts of my gear every single year because I want to keep it as current as I can, and again, just make it as easy and as high quality of a product as I can. So that's been my run through of my gear set. If you guys have questions or if you have any gear suggestions, please let me know. I would love to hear it. So I will talk to you guys later. See you on the next one. This is gin, aquavit. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but gin, aquavit, and maraschino liqueur. I'm saying it the Italian way. A little bit of maraschino liqueur, a little bit of sage simple syrup, and some black lemon bitters. And I will say, it's fun. We did it.